Hello everyone, it's Lara. In today's video I'm going to show you how I have transformed this old IKEA dresser that was already rather crappy looking into a new shiny one in marble look. I put my old dresser on a large sheet of plastic first. Then I started roughing up all surfaces I wanted to paint with a sandpaper. Once I was done, I wiped all the dust away with a wet towel. I taped properly any part of the dresser where I was afraid it might get stained by the paint. It took a while, but that was good because in the meantime the dresser could completely dry off before I started painting. I poured into a paper bowl some just plain black acrylic matte paint, and with a white brush I started painting the top of the dresser and also the upper parts of the drawers. I used the white brush first because it was easier and saved me some time, but as soon as I got to some details, especially on the drawers, I switched to a little bit thinner brush. It was about an inch wide. I mixed the rest of the black paint with white paint in order to get the great shade for our marble effect. I took a bowl with the plain white paint and started dabbing it on the sides of the dresser with a sponge. In my case, the acrylic paint stayed very well on the surface that has been roughed up before, but you could also use a primer first. I painted several irregular lines with the gray paint, and then I took a fluffy brush and started smudging them. I took the sponge and the white paint and started dabbing it on the places where I smudged the lines first, and once they were covered, I added some more of the white paint on the entire surface. I continued dabbing on the white paint until the entire surface was covered, and then I repeated the procedure. This time I added lines also in different places. I didn't make as many as before, and I smudged them with a little bit smaller brush. Here you can go as often as you want to until you have the desired effect, so I took my sponge and white paint and started dabbing the paint on wherever I wanted to until I was happy with the result. At the end I painted several very thin lines, and this time I didn't smudge them. Whenever I had the feeling that I didn't like some part, it was very easy to correct it. All I had to do was to dab some white paint on it, and then I could redraw anything that I wanted to make better. I painted also the legs of the dresser, and I drew several gray lines there so that I achieved the marble effect there as well. I repeated this procedure on each side of the dresser and also on the fronts of the drawers. I found it helpful to use a little bit smaller sponge on the fronts of the dresser. It was much easier than using the big sponge that I used on the sides of the dresser. And at the end I found any place that needed to be corrected, and I painted those places with a thin brush. I waited for about half an hour and then started removing the tape. Even though the paint is pretty much in 1 or 1.5 hours dry to touch, it is always good to wait for at least 12 hours until you start doing anything else with it. I personally like waiting until the next day. To keep the black surfaces matte, I used a matte clear spray paint. For all the marble parts, I used a regular, simple, clear paint with a soft brush. And then the dresser had to dry again. I waited again until the next day before I put it back where it was before. So, and that was it. Our dresser is done, and I hope you liked the video. If yes, don't forget to leave a comment or a thumb up. You will find a link to more DIY videos in the info below this video, together with links to my webpage, Facebook page, and Instagram page. Maybe you are for the first time here, so welcome. I'm happy you stopped by, and if you want to, you can also subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I wish you a wonderful day and see you next time. Bye!